Hi everybody, we're back. I'm Rdawggg with the Triple G's, and I've got Moogie and Joe, yours truly. We've got game two, the professors versus even worse timing. Let's go over to the draft and see what game two will be about. All right. There's so much that we're looking forward to with game two. We know there was the Gideon ban last time as well as the Rampage ban, but I'll let Moogie take over from here.
Yeah, I feel like in the end, like both team got like what they wanted in a sense, and both team played well, and the game could have gone in any direction. So, like we see, like Gideon ban again, they don't feel like they have to change a lot of things. I would assume like probably like Rampage ban again. I don't see like anyone. Oh, but the Bellica ban. Okay, so they want to shift stuff around. So no Rampage is open. Let's see if
Yeah,
even more timing take it.
that's very interesting because Professor's been banning Rampage non-stop, but I feel like the Bellica mid is the even bigger threat. Like that Bellica was really putting like the mid lane in their place. So maybe they're trying to like let Soul Reaper get a little bit better of a mid lane phase. And we do see the Rampage pick. So this is like not looking the best for Professors because they will not looking forward to the Rampage, and here they are, they're facing against him.
But maybe like leaving the rampage open to secure like the Rictor for Rdawggg is maybe part of the strategy. We've seen that Rdawggg like was dominating in the first game against Rdawggg with the Rictor, and by putting Ray on the rampage, you can open up like that pick for yourself. So we'll see what they do. But they decide to secure the dual lane. They don't want Pablo on Kira again, and they once again like secure the Decker for Crazy Fool. So it seems like to be a constant. Like if Decker is open, Crazy Fool is going to take it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to see who will be next. And now we've got Joey's favorite.
And it's a
Mortgage.
mortgage. Yeah, so even more timing, we're the first team to start picking up mortgage mid and kind of make this kind of ripple effect where a lot of teams are trying up the mortgage mid. We saw one game earlier with they tried to do mortgage mid, but that didn't end up working as great. But now even more timing is going to be picking up mortgage mid and kind of showing them how to use her properly in these team fights.
And so they decide to go like here we talk about the Rictor, probably for Rdawggg, we go for Faye again. I'm very surprised about like one pick in the mid lane that we don't see anymore in the off lane, the Gadget so far in the tournament. Because like I remember like 3 weeks ago she was pretty strong, so I don't know what happened with the arrival with Mortgage. Maybe like Gadget is not interesting anymore. But yeah, so we go once again with the Faye. No, we have the Rictor, so probably like some good combo with Decker, Rictor. Once again, like the wombo combo they love. And also, like I think it's we haven't seen Murdoch so far in the day, so like a new pick as well.
It's very interesting they did the Murdoch against the Kira because usually Jungle is the big counter, but I think probably feeling very confident with the Murdoch pick. But we are seeing the phase again returning to the phrase, so that's a very strong looking duo right there. We saw the fake one on phase. It's a very potent piloter of that character, and we are seeing Shimmy once again on even worse timing.
And we decide to go with the steal. So I guess we want to play the steal into the Shinbi. Like previous game, Shinbi was a very, very big problem for the side of professors. And so apparently like Mr. Go just want to go like for the safe bet with steal. Let's see how it goes, because I think like the Snoop, if he got like the opportunity to knock out your inhibitor again at 20 minutes in, he will do so. So they have to be careful about that.
That's an interesting pick because usually Shimbi does count the steal as the game goes on because she can keep the steal in the offlane very, very well. And that steal wants to rotate. Looking at the team, they have to wait to the deck of the Fae. That steal wants to be in those team fights because they have a very strong 5v5. But that Shimbi may be like drawing so much pressure away and keeping the steal stuck in the lane with her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to see what they have to offer for game number two. You mentioned, Joey, that Shinbi will start to take over the lane against Steel. We expected that going against Sevrog, but now, and usually we see Sevrog in these tournaments. He was either a pick or he was either a ban, but he is not in this game right now. Like, what? What do you make of that, Joey?
Yeah, it's actually very insane, but that's only because I think they scaled the Shimmy offlane. Obviously, the Shimmy really dominates Sevvar, so they can't pick that same pick again because it's going to go with the same story. So I think they're trying to pick a different pick to shut down the Shimmy, but we really have to see how this plays out. This is very exciting, not seeing the Sevvar for once in these tournaments.
I know, right? Any other last remarks, Mookie, about that draft?
Well, I think like Joey said like a Shinbi will probably be an issue, and I don't think they have like a lot of solution. But maybe one solution could be like be aggressive with the Decker Kira. It's true that you're facing a phase Rdawggg, but I think there is potentially this dual lane, and I have faith into Crazy Fool and Survivors to maybe like coming back into 1-1 and make it a 3-game series. We'll see how that pans out.
All right, game number 2, even worse timing versus the Professors, Crashy and TJ. Please take it away.
I mean, I'm not going to really complain about 3 games, especially if we get to watch even worse timing and the Professors even more, because that game 1 was absolutely fantastic. But yes, welcome to the casting desk. TJ here, Crashy alongside me once again for this one. And just watching this draft, Crashy, you highlighted in game number 1 that there was some real standout performances by Vecron on this phase. Vecron's getting a return game on this phase, but the Professors, though, they pulled away the Kira, and now actually we get to see a bit more of Rdawggg on the Richter. So we have some really hype synergies here to look forward to.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting because one thing that we saw from Vecron in the duo lane, well, not just Vecron in the duo lane, we saw it from Pablo as well, is they had a very mobility-focused duo lane. They have Kira, the only carry in the game that has her own kind of like self-sustaining mobility, but we have the pull on top of that. So we saw infinite pressure in that lane. Just they push it, and Rdawggg would show up, and guess what? You know, there's just too much space that can be created by the pair of those two. And so they don't quite have that. You know, they get Rdawggg. He's got that 30% increase speed. He's got a 30-ish percent movement speed increase. And so that's gonna be good. We're gonna have to see how they actually do in that lane. But I think the off lane, we got to look at a lot at the off lane on this one, because Shinbi, I think Snoop really did show that Shinbi can be a huge problem for Rdawggg. But how do you deal with Shinbi? This is I'll be completely honest, my ignorance will shine here. I know very little about offlane matchups. So picking the steal into it, it's a big question mark for me, because I think that's going to be hard to keep up with the pressure and the push potential from Shinbi. But Guru definitely has his work cut out for him. Professors stepping in the early game in Professor style. They're always looking for those cheeky 5-man grabs potentially.
Yeah, I'm just wondering here as well, is like maybe taking the steal as again, I will throw my hands up and say that, the Shinbi and steal matchup is a little bit of a blind spot for me as well. But I think with how Mr. Guru was, because the Des mentioned as well that Rdawggg, it feels like for the first time in like months all of a sudden, that Rdawggg has gone through an entire draft, neither picked nor banned, which is unprecedented at this point. But I think, maybe Mr. Guru's the Professors are thinking that even if Mr. Guru doesn't have necessarily a good time in the solo lane, if he is going to start to struggle and, as you say, unable to really match the pressure coming out from the Snoop, you still have a steal inside of your game. You still have that mad engage, you still have the light screen, the bull rush, all of that CC that you can pile on. So I think going by on that first game, like the Professors had a real difficult time just pinning down this duo lane, and the fact that they've managed to get this Richter, they've got the fly trap, they've got Decker, they've got Steel, they've got spades full of CC. So I think it's going to be once again another explosive matchup here, but the Professors definitely have a lot of tools at their disposal.
Yeah, we'll have to see how they decide to use them. Crazy Fool on what I guess would say is, a much more comfortable pick for them. I'm not to say that they were uncomfortable in last game, but Crazy Fool on the Decker definitely could be a big difference maker for this game. And again, this off lane, it definitely is a big one, because how is Guru going to put up with the pressure and the poke potential coming out from Snoop? We'll have to wait and see. But specifically, I think we might see something like a Crystalline Cuirass become, that first item pickup, or a Fire Blossom potentially, or just going into the Brimstone. We'll see what they decide to do with that Vitality Bead. And Ray getting the Rampage. We got to talk a little bit about that Rampage, because Rampage is the reason why this character gets banned so much, and the reason why this character has been, nerfed 4 or 5 times in a row and still see so much potential, is because this is a tank that scales really pretty well into the late game. Maybe not as much as Rdawggg, but has incredible presence throughout pretty much every stage of the game with that rock throw, that boulder throw, for early to mid game ganks as well.
Yeah, and especially with how even worse timing, especially if they want to really start to snowball these games and find value in their individual picks, and they're just matchup versus matchup. I think as well that, as I say, the boulder toss is the crucial element. You've got the regen and also like some of the items as well. So there have been a couple of builds flying around where I believe Rampages are picking up the Sapphire's Mantle, I think, and then going into Overlord. So you have a nice bit of synergy with like getting the health online, and obviously when Rampage goes into the Behemoth, you still have that. So there's a lot of damage can pump out. But this gank here, immediately Rdawggg over to right side side, but Ray is able to answer back. Guru, though, finds a very nice double ball rush. Riplash is not able to connect this time, and now we go from a gank into 2-1 versus 1s. Snoop has to blink away, but both junglers make an immediate run straight over to that solo side.
Yeah, Rdawggg was, able to kind of continue to keep that pressure there and pull over the enemy jungler as well. But back over on the duo lane, and this is feeling a little bit calm, right? We were used to seeing Pablo and Vecron, really shoved up the lane, but again, they also had that safety net, that pull, and that ability to kind of dash backwards. And now, we got Crazy Fool controlling this wall, looking for that potential free stun. He is going to land it, but Survivor, getting out of dodge there. So just a light trade, and I think that this is probably a much more comfortable duo pairing in terms of hero selection for both, as where I think Pablo and Vecron were maybe incredibly confident on that last pairing. So we'll have to see how that one develops. Now, jumping over to Soul Reaper, there was actually something he did a little bit ago that I thought was really nuanced and kind of beautiful. He randomly just decides to, he shoved his lane a little bit naturally and then stepped in towards the stairs, looked over at the 2 camp, just collecting that extra bit of information, wanted to see, that red side jungle is taken down already. So you can kind of use Soul Reaper as a kind of mobile ward around that mid lane to just search out a little bit more information of that early game. I thought that was really kind of nuanced and pretty to watch.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, how important the knowledge battle is. Rdawggg is able to utilize that. Maybe he's able to go for quite an audacious pathing in towards the right-hand side. He's got to hit that Riplash, but can't connect onto the Snoop. A very good sidestep, and that's going to be another gank being shown. But meanwhile, though, in the mid lane, looks like we had the 1 versus 1, and first blood this time goes the way of the Professors. It's Soul Reaper picking that one up, as Shin will fall in the isolated 1 versus 1.
Soul Reaper picking up an isolated 1v1 on Faye against the Morgash. Really, really interesting. Ray, who wants to clap back a little bit, just going to put down some of that health damage. Wait, actually, the body blocking coming in. Is Soul Reaper going to be taken down? No, Ray going to go ahead and kind of just grief the health bar. Still a successful gank right now is not going to allow Soul Reaper to kind of continue to push and take that lane over as much as they would maybe like to. But I will say, I think that that's a pretty huge solo kill there. So Ray jumping back into the jungle, and here we are back at the tower line again. Is this where we start to see some of that confidence coming out from Vecron and Pablo in this duo lane?
Yeah, you want to see them get just a little bit more aggressive, but I think actually maybe from the first game, Savara and Crazy Fool able just to kind of weather the storm here. Crazy Fool did actually make a very brief look in towards the mid lane. He threw like a stay spawn from pretty much the next postcode in towards the mid lane. He just kind of glanced through the top of the screen there. It did not obviously lands as you would have saw it, but you can still see the Professors trying to leverage and trying to kind of play around this as well. But going back to Soul Reaper grabbing that first blood as well, because that's something that the Professors are known for. It's their 2v2s and their 3v3s, unlocking Soul Reaper in that mid lane, rotate duo side, rotate solo side, pull onto these neutral objectives. It all just kind of naturally fits. You can see Soul Reaper was making a little bit of movement so towards the duo side as he's just kind of getting some vision down on towards the Fangtooth pit as well, as we go back to kind of an even state here. But for now, it is just that 1 kill, and Graceful Survivor starting to get the push back against this even worse timing duo lane.
Yeah, it's funny. This duo lane is much more in the hands of the actual duo lane. We haven't seen a ton of jungle influence here just yet, and some really good damage coming out from Survivor. Vecron just continuing to let them clap back a little bit. Pablo going to put some damage back in return, but a nice calm state going on there. Now, Survivor, or no, sorry, not Survivor, Soul Reaper getting a little bit caught up here on a bit of a rotation, not able to stay alive. Guru not able to make it there. So a nice picking up coming out from even worse timing. And I gotta say, I meant to mention this earlier, but Snoop, not a player I'm super familiar with, is looking really good. I'm seeing a lot of movement coming out from Snoop on the Shinbi, and like there was that duo gank over on the off lane, and they just were maneuvering. They got away from that Riplash here. Speaking of it again, Rdawggg not able to connect on that one. Survivor jumping into the trap there. So pretty even game state here, nice and slow from both teams.
Yeah, but Ray's going to actually find Rdawggg inside this jungle as well. Duo Prio is currently in the way of the Professors, but Ray is still full health, full mana, and actually has the Behemoth ultimate available, has that advantage as the Energy Lance comes out. Can it find any purchase? It cannot, but Ray in the Behemoth looking to find a pick and will answer on to Crazy Fool to get even worse timing on the board here. 1 kill each, and Ray getting a kill.
I gotta say, as a jungle main, I absolutely love that scenario because finding the ultimate at that time, being able to cash in that ultimate really early means that it's fairly inconsequential in terms of the cooldown, right? Like Ray is going to be able to instantly start working down that cooldown, and Rdawggg doesn't even have it yet. So Rdawggg is going to work their way towards that level 6. I'm watching it on the UI. I don't know if it's exactly accurate, but working towards that level 6 as Rdawggg doesn't have it yet. So all of this time between that last successful gank from Ray and Rdawggg now getting that level 6 for the ultimate is cooldown that was all for free. So very inconsequential. It's just one of those little tiny things that as a jungler, if you're able to cash in on that, it feels so nice. So really, really big pick. Again, slightly swinging the field again. And look at this. We're at 9 minutes, coming up on 9 minutes into the game. Crazy Fool doing a lot more rotations. We've seen this from him in the past. Yeah. And it's still just so much of a close match.
It's got to be a little bit of bother though, because Ray is at least able to chase the Decker out of that left-hand side jungle, where the action has been kind of isolated over towards the left-hand side, aside from just the rotations to the solo side at least. Crazy Fool's still knocking around as well. Soul Reaper does kind of get hit by the CC, but is not really able to find it. Rdawggg from the stairs, unable to connect on towards this Whiplash here, and going by what we saw in the previous set against Rdawggg, where Rdawggg was just running the show in of every single Whiplash was connecting, and even seeing Ray have a kind of a similar performance in game 1 of this set. Rdawggg just hasn't really found the aim just yet.
Yeah, it's definitely been a bit more of a light set for Rdawggg in this one, but Guru looking to make some plays again. This lane, it's been one that's interested me. They went for the Brimstone first. Like I said, I was curious to see how they decided to go into that. So allowing Guru to have some of that lane pressure where they can still, kind of contest the farm a little bit there and keep that lane from completely slapping back on their side, but now building into that kind of magic resist, that magic, armor there that they can actually keep themselves safe with. Yeah. But look at this. It looks like Professors being the aggressors on this one, as opposed to the last game. They got Rdawggg, and again, it's a big smite when you have that Whiplash, that ability to quickly whip it into a hunt. And now they're looking to go a little bit of aggressive here. Crazy Fool throwing out that cage here, just gonna pull Pablo out, and that's gonna be a big fly trap coming out. The flash is there. No, not able to pull him in, but a nice effort, burning some cooldowns and just making that an overall team effort as well.
Yeah, and even Guru coming in from Solo side towards the mid lane, going to be ticked down. A long arm of the law is going to connect the damage down, and actually is going to fall as well. I think that might have been the curse coming out from the Moragesh, but I mean, the ultimate's still available, but just the damage over time matters there. So it's a big call from the Professors, to do so well, immediately taking that Fang Tooth. They are proactive in this game. They see an opportunity, they take it, it pays off, and they almost get the kill over on the left-hand side. But yeah, Mr. Guru just getting caught out over in the mid lane as well. Meanwhile, there's still more action in the duo side as it's going to be Vecron dropping down here with Survivor and Crazy Fool. So I get the best drop. But I mean, Rdawggg is in the vicinity. This did happen on camera, so maybe we'll use our imaginations to say what happened in that scenario. But it is going to be a kill on towards the phase as well. But the Professors definitely be looking the more livelier of the teams in these early exchanges.
Yeah, back and forth a little bit from both teams. We did see the Professors pick up that first Fang Tooth, but it did come at a cost. And now look at this. Ray coming in, has that ultimate, the instant boulder, but not able to really follow that up. Now, over on the side of even worse timing, that first Fang Tooth goes in the hands of the Professor, but they were able to trade it for Snoop, able to grab that mini prime. So that could cause a little bit of issues over on the side of the solo lane. But look at this, a re-engagement. Ray going back in. Survivor might be in a bit of damage. Rdawggg just doing his best to peel him off. Ray has that cleaver, potentially that Overlord already, trying to stay alive, and Survivor does get out. Ray not able to find that pick. But look at this. Both of these teams, they respond just like we saw in game number 1. They respond, they either trade, they help each other out. And this one, they're just going to have to walk away.
Yeah, definitely very disciplined as well. No members really sticking around. Actually, yeah, no members sticking around in these exchanges as well. They kind of make the play happen, the play falls apart, and it's like, well, we can't get anything, so just immediate recall, immediate back away. No one is being left to hang out to dry, so to speak here, and this is where the discipline is starting to come out. And it does create a very interesting scenario here. Again, 30 minutes in, if we just have a little look at the tab thing. Actually, no, cancel that one. Sorry, Soul Reaper rotating through the river, looking to try and get a pick on towards the Snoop. Got to really help out Mr. Guru here, who's able to get a lot of damage down. Actually, with the all kill, returns lockdown, but here comes the shield slam. Guru's still very low. Shield slam comes out the long arm of the law as well to help out, but Rdawggg is here as well. The Shinbi is just way too far forward and will be dropping for the Professors. They, they make another play, and this time they help out Mr. Guru.
Yeah, and I believe if I saw that correctly, yes, the kill did go in the hands of Soul Reaper. So kind of perfect allocation there. You definitely want Soul Reaper getting a little bit stronger. And I gotta say, oh, look at this. The follow-up again. Shin rotating over, but Soul Reaper putting down some big damage. Shin not gonna do that without any kind of an answer. So they're running around in circles. Rdawggg is here. Shin finds himself in a bad position. Soul Reaper, will they be able to find another kill here? It does look like that goes in the way. And Ray here with the ultimate, but are they going to be able to do much there? Will they be able to follow that up?
Yeah, right, in the Behemoth jumps forward, but there's still 3 members of the Professors, and even worse timing, really trying to force, and the containment fence just denies the pounce away from Ray. And that's just 3 members dropping one after the other The Professors really punishing some sloppiness coming out from even worse timing.
I think there's again, this is something that it's so impressive to me to see from the Professors. They're willing to open up the map on one side to create plays on the other. They're willing to look at their duo lane and say, you know what? Okay, that's fine. Let him push it. You know, we're going to go get a couple kills. We're going to go find some opportunities and create some holes on the other side of the map. And while that may not be returned in the form of a tower or a tier 1 going down, or even just an objective kill, they're going to find themselves a nice swing of gold. So Soul Reaper getting, you know, that much needed help in the off lane. I don't exactly know where all the kills go, but I saw Soul Reaper got 2 of them because he's up to 3 now. So Soul Reaper getting much stronger. The fly trap is definitely going to start hitting different. Guru goes in on this tower dive in. Look at this. This is what the Professors do so incredibly well. They are a unit. They're a death ball. They are constantly together. And actually, I got to bring this all the way back to my experience competing in Predecessor. The first time I started playing against both of these teams, or a version of the teams, Bad Timing and the Professors, this is what I was caught off guard the most. They are constantly making plays together as a team. And, you know, in a third-person MOBA, it's really easy to get kind of tunnel visioned and locked into what you're seeing. But it looks like what we're seeing here in the mid lane is a big effort to take down Soul Reaper. Yes, they're going to find him. That's going to be Shin with the Morgesh ultimate.
Yeah, the curse coming down here as well. And you know, even worse timing, actually able to find the group up, catching the Professors off guard, but, you know, immediately duo lane, straight response over towards this side. That's a max range Riplash by Rdawggg on towards Ray. The Purge coming out as well, trying to add the damage, but Pablo able to actually kite away from the ultimate and is able to take down this Kira. And now the even worse timing find yet another pick. They're going to take out Rdawggg on this Richter, and this with the Slay is near going to be a free Fangtooth.
Yeah, absolutely looking to be a free Fangtooth, and we're talking about how well the Professors are doing. Even worse timing, they want to swing it back a little bit. So now, game number 1 was incredibly close and a little bit slow. Game number 2, incredibly close, but much more faster. Oh, look at that, 100 CS difference. So definitely something to take note of. So we do have, well, when we had Pablo just really running down that lane, as, you know, the Professors were kind of grouping up and deathballing around a little bit. So I'd say that last Fangtooth pickup is probably really going to help even worse timing out, because now they're on the board. They don't have to worry about, you know, the Professors putting themselves up 2-0. You know, there's not going to be a free 8% stats scored before a Primal Fangtooth hits the field. So this is definitely going to make the game a lot more interesting.
Yeah, and just going back to that scoreboard as well, that was a 50 with that 100 CS difference. It kind of existed purely on Pablo and also on the Snoop. They both had around 40 to 50 CS advantage on their respective laners, and, you know, this is kind of the trade-off that the Professors have to work around. As you said just moments ago, the Professors are more than happy to, you know, rotate, open up this map and try and make plays happen. However, even worse timing means that, you know, you've allowed them to just keep the farm going. That's time out of lane. And this lead, you know, from the CS has started to balloon a bit, especially onto priority members as well, because we saw what happened when the Snoop got an advantage, you know, near enough sieging onto inhibitors at this point, with Mr. Guru unable to contest. But for now, because all of the towers are actually still standing here, I believe it's actually, yeah, I think all of the towers remain standing. Just having a quick look at the map. We're 17 minutes in. We still haven't found that Haymaker team fight just yet. It's a lot of trading, but now outside this mini prime with a lot of posturing, we might be able to find something. Is looking for an engage as Rdawggg looking towards their combat. Ray in the Behemoth will jump in over onto Survivor. Looking for picks. Rdawggg on the left hand side throws down the skewer as well. Mr. Guru going very low. A stasis bomb connects onto multiple members as well, but not able to find the damage, having to back away. But even worse timing, have the health bar advantage. Rdawggg very low. The boulder toss connects on towards Crazy Fool. The energy lance as well. Crazy Fool tries to get away, but is able to get away from the last tick, but cannot get away from the curse. And the Morrigan is able to pick up one, but it's not for free as Pablo has dropped. Soul Reaper is very low at this point. It's just going to be a 1-for-1, but that was close. Vecron actually wants to keep this going because Soul Reaper is in a huge world of problem. Will actually die to tower, but Vecron, I believe, will get that kill credit.
Yeah, I think an execution play coming out there from Soul Reaper, so not going to give any additional credit, or unless they did get the credit, I'm not sure. So yeah,
no, they didn't, actually.
Okay, so yeah, it doesn't look like it. At least I might have to check that out a little bit later. But again, man, it's so funny watching these teams fight because they have a good amount of respect for each other, right? Like they have the opportunity to see and put and commit so much damage and know what they're looking for, and then they get low and they all just like mutually kind of pull away. Now it did lead into picking, finding that pick on the Crazy Fool. Survivor answers it back in kind toward Pablo, but these teams they're very disciplined, and it's really interesting to watch. Now I will say I still think that the lead is slightly leaning towards the side of Even Worse Timing. They just picked up that mini prime. They do have the one tier 1 tower down in the duo lane, and it looks like they have some pretty good damage there on that tier 1 in the mid lane. And now as the map is starting to open up more and more, we're going to start seeing a lot more rotations from Snoop. It even looks like they might be rotating the map here. So Guru finds his way over here in the duo lane, and Snoop is looking to follow that up as well.
Yeah, kind of just following the matchup as well. I mean, Snoop is more than happy to lane against Mr. Guru as well. But I have to feel that with the professors, they grouped up early. They were able to find some picks, but we go to this point now where a couple minutes later, the professors are like, well, they start to get this death ball rolling. This skirmish starts to go. They're going to try and find these kills, and all of a sudden they're going to look to blow Even Worse Timing out the water. But for now, Even Worse Timing still remain in the game. As you say, we have another fight breaking out to the right hand side. Rdawggg looking to get the damage over towards this murder, but Pablo's able to take it down. Kira inside of the purge, or at least answer back. It's AD carry for AD carry, but Rdawggg has also fallen as well. Ray and Vecron will be able to be pulled back by the Link as well, so it looks like it will just be the 1 versus 2. But Even Worse Timing in these trades, they're just finding 1 extra kill on some priority members.
Yeah, I have to say, if the stun from Crazy Fool had come out maybe a second later, that could have been Survivor healing up just enough to stay alive and kind of continue that engagement out. But they did find that trade. And again, Guru and Snoop, they've got this this interesting relationship going on where Snoop is like, he just doesn't want to let Guru open up the map at all. He's going to continue to find that opportunity to take advantage of Shinbi. And I honestly think that that's what we're seeing here, right? Like in my mind, looking at the draft, when I see a Shinbi come out, I'm not so sure about that pick. I'm not so confident about it, and I think that what we're seeing is Even Worse Timing have the kind of win condition with Shinbi, right? They have kind of figured this character out to a degree where in these particular matchups, they want to keep that pressure on, and when it's time to group up, they found enough strength for themselves that they are going to have a big impact. Now, the Professor starting the Fang Tooth. It does look like Even Worse Timing is looking to respond, and it might be dropping down here very shortly.
Yeah, Rdawggg still keeping the damage down. Ray did take 2 bits of CC. Has the boulder toss. It will be quite a steal here if they go for it. But actually going to pull away here. He's going to even grab a Riplash over towards Pablo. The shield slam comes down. Starting to see the wombo combo come out. But no one has dropped with the huge committal. Ray still staying alive in the Behemoth ultimate. And has actually picked off Rdawggg now. Crazy Fool looking for the double jump. Can get over there. But so can Ray on this rampage. Still chasing out onto Crazy Fool. Pablo incredibly low on the back end. And so is Survivor TV. Just blinking health bars across the board, but it's the Professor's members that are dropping. They've lost Pablo, they've lost Survivor, they've lost Rdawggg, and now they've even lost their steal. Soul Reaper will also be picked off as well. It's Even Worse Timing. 1 by 1, these dominoes fall, and they're going to find 4 kills.
And it's the same thing we saw from game number 1, where the game was just close enough that it was going to be that next big team fight engagement that was going to kind of decide which direction this game is going in. And honestly, I am seeing so much value come out from the Rampage pick. I mean, there's a reason why this character is the king of the jungle. He comes out, he gets absolutely massive. He's such a force to deal with, and he is all over your backline. And it's just so hard for them to deal with that. We have a 200 CS lead now. We have the Fang Tooth are going in the way of Even Worse Timing, but the 8% stats are not out yet until potentially the next Primal Fang Tooth is going to be coming out.
Yeah, and just one more look towards that scoreboard as well. The Snoop has a 100 CS lead over Mr. Guru. Like, that's 229 to 128. I don't think I've ever seen that much of a CS difference inside of a lane, as you know, the Snoop has been really putting on a spectacle with this Shinbi pick. And you know, as you pointed out earlier, I completely agree. Like, historically in these events, especially with PCC, you see a Shinbi pick and it's like, oh well, either the Shinbi gets ahead or the Shinbi is just absolutely useless inside of these games. But we can see that the Snoop has been just having Mr. Guru's number constantly throughout this set, and actually really able to see what the Shinbi can do as well. More ultimates coming out. Soul Reaper will go into the Epoch to survive out the Moragesh curse, at least, but that is a stasis on cooldown. I'm pretty sure the curse comes off cooldown a little bit sooner than that anyway, so it's more scuffling for now, as there's a lot of posturing towards that Orb Prime pit. You can see that Survivor is able to push out the wave on the left-hand side, but he's actually quite far away from this pit. And even worse timing, looking for an engage as well. The Energy Lance will come out, the Blink will be committed by Rdawggg just to get back onto the tower, but it's still in the hunt, and Mr. Guru is in a really tricky situation here, having to pull rush to get away. Say Spons comes down, Rdawggg throws down the skewer, but can't find anything. Ray in the Behemoth throws down the boulder onto a Soul Reaver, blinked away, as now underneath this tier 2 tower. Graceful with the Riftwalkers trying to find a pick, but members just back away. Professors have to recall, but even worse timing, looking pretty healthy.
Yeah, I think they're definitely going to be potentially just ripping down this Orb Prime. And that's the thing with that duo lane is completely opened up. They have that tier 1 tower down. It was Survivor that was kind of forced to create a push. You know, they don't want to have that lane just completely pushing against them. They want to set the lane to the best of their ability, but it took him so long to get back over towards the side of the Professors to get back to his team that even worse timing was able to find that opportunity. Now it does look like Rdawggg trying to siege in. Is the health of this low enough? Rdawggg makes his way into the pit. Guru is going to find that shield going down as well. The curse is going down, and the Orb Prime is still being flipped. A huge ultimate coming out from Guru, and this is that potential that they needed. This is a massive turnaround. It does look like the Orb Prime goes in the side of even worse timing, but this is a massive chase here. But it does look like they've lost a lot of their damage. It's going to be Guru and Crazy Fool. The Snoop is huge. We've already established that with that CS lead, and even worse timing even still comes out ahead, but a massive slowdown coming from the side of the Professors.
Yeah, we're going to be in a situation now where it's like, if even worse timing have been able to cleanly secure that Orb Prime, you're now thinking, right, Death Push is coming out. These towers are just going to drop very quickly as excuse me, Mr. Guru just, you know, able to buy a little bit of time there. But this is, you know, hero plays. If the Professors if this didn't work, by the way, all of a sudden we're looking at inhibitors sieges. That is a huge wombo combo. Crazy Fall and Mr. Guru combining with the Iron Strike, with the Shield Slam onto the priority members. Rdawggg already dropped, so you're not really going to have that secure onto the Orb Prime. But it's like, if we're not going to secure it, we want to make sure we take it off as many members as we can. So it's only going to be Shin and Snoop will have the Orb Prime buff. All of the other members were dead, so, you know, having to make the plays, but even worse time, you know, do at least get a little bit of a buff.
Yeah, I think we're going to see another massive engagement coming up here just pretty soon, because we do have that Primal Fangtooth coming up. But not only is it a Primal Fangtooth, it's potentially going to be the third Fangtooth coming out for this side of even worse timing, if not contested by the Professors. So again, the biggest thing about understanding the game state here is truly how much time the Professors just bought themselves. They have given themselves more time to farm, more time to set the lanes, more time to, you know, try to scale Survivor into the game a little bit more, and ultimately, hopefully, another chance at a fight. Because like you said, had that fight gone, you know, definitively, or had the Orb Prime definitively gone towards the side of even worse timing, they would have taken a Primal Fang. They would have gotten that Primordial Blaze ultimate, or the buff. But look at this, Ray and Shin, they find Rdawggg. So everything I just said is off the table, because they are potentially going to contest this Primal Fang without an answer from the Professors.
You know, you have to feel that even worse timing, we're just hunting for Rdawggg as well. And as you alluded to as well with your previous experience, when, you know, with teams, how very quick they are to group up and start to find these skirmishes as well. You cannot take your eyes off the game for 1 second. You cannot relent in your composure as well, because one take like that, you know, Rdawggg losing the Slayer, Ray has just got a very easy secure here, unless it's going to take a miracle steal from Crazy Fool. but he has already used the stasis bomb as well. Maybe has the ion strike, but no, even worse timing, will be able to hold on to their nerve, and they will secure that third Fangtooth pick here as well. And, you know, this is what we saw in game one. It was about this time that even worse timing started to get the ball rolling.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's so much to be said about Crazy Fool's actions just now. I mean, the just sheer desperation of a potential steal, right? Like, who knows? Maybe in some world the Smite drops it down to 20 and it gets stolen, right? Like, I mean, we're in that position. You know, we have such a huge lead coming out from the side of even worse timing, and the professors, you know, they really did kind of buy themselves one more fight, but Rdawggg, unfortunately, not able to stay alive in the jungle. And if anybody's getting taken down on the side of professors, you know, that even worse timing wants to find prior to a primal Fangtooth, well, it's the jungler with the hunt. So unfortunately, a huge advantage on the side of even worse timing now. They do have that primordial blaze, and they're going to potentially look to siege here.
Yeah, it's still buying time, but, you know, you have to remember what is at stake here as well. This is semi-finals. Even worse timing are on match points. They are one core take away from securing a spot in the grand finals as well. Elimination here for the professors. So, you know, to see like Crazy Fool with like the kind of Hail Mary stasis bomb, I can just completely understand that. You have to maybe have some miracles here, but, you know, we have some very, very good individual players, and we need, you know, this is now the time to shine. This is where, you know, you are at the last breaths possibly of this game, because we've seen how clinical even worse timing can be in these sieges, in these takes onto the base. Now, once again, 4 members, the Snoop to the left, 4 members in the mid lane as well. They're still hunting for something. That's Energy Beam looking for Soul Reaper, and even, you know, the Riplash going wide as well. These inhibitors starting to take a little bit of chip damage. And for the professors, I think I might just have to go for the Hail Mary play here. Soul Reaper goes very far forward, actually commits the fly trap, but it's only onto Shin, and he has to blink away. So they've already used one important cooldown, and Epoch comes out, long over the law, the take damage will get him, and Soul Reaper drops in the base.
Wow. I mean, we have seen that coordinated ultimate combo time and time again, but now Ray coming in with his ultimate as well. They're looking to dive. This is the potential finish. Finds one. Rdawggg with the skewer, not able to save his teammate there. And Pablo jumping forward. That's going to be all she wrote, as even worse timing, still using that primordial blaze to win the fight. I think it literally just fell off, if I'm seeing that correctly. The visual effect is kind of ending there. And Rdawggg and Mr. Guru, the last members standing from the side of the professors, the 1-0 lead, potentially going down into a 2-0 series coming out from even worse timing. Mr. Guru, again, the last man standing, and even worse timing, pushing themselves towards the finals.
An incredible performance from even worse timing as well. You know, what a set, honestly, in terms of like from a pure macro perspective as well, because this is a set that wasn't defined by just kills. It wasn't defined by just playing team deathmatch across a very beautifully you know, looking map, I must say, by the way. But no, this came down to teams playing the map, playing you know, MOBA as well. We're seeing the playbook, the grouping up, skirmishes, macro plays as well, and even worse timing, you know, secure their spots, and they are our first grand finalists. Commiserations to the professors. They do fall in the semi-finals, but damn, they put up such a good fight as well. That was a fantastic set to watch.
Listen, I gotta say, I'm gonna do something, right? Like, this is, nobody told me in the ear, production didn't tell me to do this, but I'm gonna do a thing myself. You can take it or leave it. I want to give an MVP, and this will be, we'll call it the Crashy MVP. I think that Snoop played ridiculous this series. Now, it's so hard for me to not give it to Vecron or to Pablo or to Ray. I mean, truly, and I mean, not to say their mid laner wasn't good as well, but the Snoop, a player that I'm not familiar with, playing a character that honestly, in a lot of situations, I don't know is always the right pick. I mean, passing up Sevarog to play Shinbi, playing Shinbi into Sevarog, literally putting on a crazy performance. I think the Snoop killed it this series. I think they really showed a lot of their knowledge and the team's knowledge of the game and why they're picking and why they're drafting in a particular way. Really, really impressive.
Yeah, for sure here. So that was the inaugural awarding of the Crashy MVP going the way of the Snoop. I'm sure we're going to be seeing hopefully a lot more of them MVP badges coming out. But yeah, fantastic performance from Even Worse Timing. And I think it's one of them games where every member kind of had their own individual highlight reel as well. But that is going to do it from us. I hope you all had as much fun as we did casting that game. We're going to throw it back to the analyst desk to break down that set and go into some more analytics.
Thanks, Crashy, and thank you, TJ. What a game two, and what a series. Even Worse Timing versus the Professors. You know, watching that game, these teams like to play it slow. They were disciplined in the way they paced themselves. Profs take the Fang Tooth. Then Even Worse Timing take the second one. They trade kills and a death, 2-for-1. But, you know, soon enough, Even Worse Timing found the fight they were looking for and learned to snowball their advantage. Even Worse Timing having a better time turning the Professors into students, taking the series 2-0. Joey, nice sunglasses, by the way.
Thank you.
Please tell me what you thought about game number 2.
Yeah, I'm with Crashy on this one. I think across the board, Worst Timing played stellar, but I feel like they were able to do so many good plays because of that huge pressure that Snoop brought in the offlane, and the offlane diff is my favorite diff in this kind of game. So I am very happy with Snoop's performance. It was a pleasure to see him even like take Rdawggg out of the draft because they were too scared to do that Rdawggg matchup against the Shinbi. So I'm very, very pleased with how that offlane went in this series.
All right, Moogie, take it away. What was game 2 for you like?
Well, I really like the fact that Professor acknowledged that Snoop is going to be a problem, so they try to focus him early, but unfortunately it's a Shinbi and they didn't manage to get the kill. And from that rotation, it kind of felt like they were always like one step behind, Even Worse Timing. Like they weren't like really there for Fang Tooth, try to contest, they'd lose the mini prime, all of that, and that was like kind of complex for them. And that put like Even Worse Timing a little bit ahead in terms of farm. And at some point, like they still got their wombo combos off in fights. We've seen that like times and times again, but they lacked a little bit of damage every single time from this difference of farming. And that meant that Even Worse Timing was just getting away with 1 HP, or you had to commit like so much to get the kill that then you were just losing the fight.
Yeah, they definitely did a really good job. You know, like we mentioned, like with their snowball and taking their advantage and just building their pace, getting the gold that they needed, getting those items and staying ahead. Joey, any other things like that stood out for you?
I just think that Worst Timing are like always a step ahead in this like draft and those team fights, because we haven't seen really the phase a whole lot. We see some Shimmy here and there, but Snoop really did an amazing job on her. So I think in terms of like knowing the meta and knowing how great some of these picks are when used correctly, I think the Worst Timing is ahead of the game in that regard.
Yeah, and they were, you know, the Professors unfortunately giving up that rampage. And we saw in that first series we were watching, they banned that rampage, but that allowed Even Worse Timing to take it for themselves. It was just unfortunate that Rdawggg didn't really make the Richter work for him in the jungle. Any other like remarks about game number 2, Moogie?
Yeah, I have like one little piece. So like Shane on the Morigesh, where Joey was expecting a lot from the Morigesh, they actually have gone like 11, 2, and 7, and has dished out like 41,000 player damage. The second player in the match was Cabo on Rdawggg with only 29k. So 12k above the second player in his own team, like doing that much damage. So like Shane was a monster on the Morigesh that game, dishing the damage of like easily 2 people by himself.
Yeah, and you know, Crashy is saying that Snoop should be the MVP. Joey, do you think that he deserves the MVP too?
Like I said, I think Worst Timing did an amazing job across the board. But like I said, when you see the offlane, the double the CS of the other offlane, and just having so much control on that side of the map, I feel like that really opened up so much space and playmaking tools for Worst Timing. So I definitely agree with Crashy with giving the MVP to Snoop in that series.
How about you, Moogie? Who deserves MVP?
It's so rough because like they're all very good player, and for instance like this rampage like basically also like created a lot of space in the early game, and that's really like a shadow like work basically. But once again, I love the idea of the Shinbi and the offlaner impacting so much the map when a lot of players say like predecessor can't be won from the offlane, and Snoop is kind of proving everyone wrong here. So I will go with Joey and Crashy on that one as well.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think Shinbi did a really good job. Snoop did a really good job on that off lane. But we got to talk about, now that they've secured a spot in the finals, even worse timing, moving forward, who are they going to go up against? We have our next semifinals with Team Rogue and Team Dirty Lake and the boys. This is also going to be a series to watch. I am very much looking forward to see what these teams. I know we haven't watched what Team Rogue and Dirty Lake and the boys were doing behind the scenes because we weren't broadcasting it. It wasn't on the stream, but they were able to move forward, and we know Rogue was able to, take our number 2 spot with the previous PCC, and I'm really looking forward to see what they've got for us. What do you think, Joey, about this next matchup?
I think, yeah, like going into the semifinals, I think it's gonna be really spicy to see what's going on that side of the map because Lake and the Boys and the other team is like very solid as well. So whoever comes up on top and goes to the finals, it's gonna be a big treat to watch. So I'm very, very excited to see the finals in this tournament series.
Yeah, we are really, really close to the finals now. Mookie, any thoughts about what you saw on that the bracket?
I won't say too much because I'm pretty sure like the other analysts we have a lot of great stuff to say, but I'm always like curious in this type of format. Like Rogue is under pressure because they didn't play in the group stage. It's also like a new roster with Wango like joining them and a few like roster change. So they kind of have to prove themselves because they got there with that through the group stage while Dirty Lake and the boys had to fought through it. So it can be like hit or miss, and I'm curious to see what they're going to bring to the table.
Thank you so much, Moogie, and thank you so much, Joey, for joining me and being a part of the desk, being a part of the PCC. Make sure to follow them on Twitch. Subscribe to their YouTube. Joey, go ahead and say a little spiel about yourself and promote everything.
Yes, so for those who do not know me, I'm a content creator over on YouTube. I do daily playtest or gameplay videos where essentially I commentate on my gameplay and I try to explain what I'm doing and really trying to help you guys learn the game. So that's kind of like my main kind of niche on the YouTube platform. I also have a Twitter page where I do comment on some of the news and I occasionally post the Rdawggg pictures on that as well. So definitely give that a follow if you like the dogs.
Yeah, I do very much like the dogs. Thank you so much, Joey. And Moogie, please shout out to you. I know you've got a Twitch. Tell us more about you.
Well, basically, I'm doing a Twitch where every single morning in EU, so it's probably during the night for NA people, I go over like top games and I try to analyze them because I really like to see like top level plays and also do like some data analysis on the stuff, like showing like what the top players are building. And probably like next Friday also we have a little talk show about like this whole event. As I usually do, where we cracked all the data up, see the peak rate, ban rate, and discuss with like 2 other like analyst guests. That is a good time. So basically like more about like coaching, analysis, data intensive stuff, not so much about playing.
Yeah, I really love, Moogie does a really good job with the graphics, by the way, guys. So please make sure to tune in. And thank you so much for those who are still here with us in the PCC. Up next, we've got Rogue and Dirty Lake and the boys. If you aren't already, please hit that follow button, subscribe to our YouTube, to our Twitch channel, join our Discord, follow our Twitter if you aren't already. But now we'll head over for a break.